Good morning, guys, and welcome in here to WagerTalk TV. This is Puck Time for Monday, May the 8th. Looking forward to breaking down tonight's game, which is the Edmonton Oilers and Vegas Golden Knights. We'll talk about the weekend briefly, of course, and today starts the Charity Challenge, and we'll try and give out some red-hot picks, build a bankroll, and donate some money to a charity of the choice of you guys, the viewers. So looking forward to today's show. Carm, how was your weekend, brother?
Yeah, I'm Andrew. I'm hoping to give out some red hot picks. They haven't been red hot the last 7 days, I can tell you that much. But weekend was up and down. A decent Saturday, and then Sunday started off well, and then just with a 5% soccer winner, 2-0 in NHL in the Carolina and New Jersey game, and then just all downhill from there. The Leafs game was a complete and utter disaster. Wrong read from me in that game. I thought, based on the first two games where the Leafs' analytical numbers were very good, but they just ran into a hot Bobrovsky, that if they could continue doing that and get some shots on goal, and they could finally solve the goalie. Well, here's the thing: is Bobrovsky didn't have to be good in Game 3 because the Leafs were that bad. You could almost say that Sheldon Keefe scratched Matthews and Marner, because that's all over Twitter right now. Is the Leafs fans have turned on their two best players, supposedly best players, and are just fuming. It's great. It's just literally goes from it's only one game to it's only two games to like, oh my God, we suck. It echoes through all fan bases. All fan bases are like that, but I'm surrounded by it. I was at a bar yesterday with friends. The place is packed, and it was dead. Not a noise throughout the game, even when the Leafs were up. People aren't making noise. They're just sitting there drinking, eating, and no one's making a noise. That's how it is at the Scotiabank Center inside the arena, not outside. At least outside, the fans are going crazy if they're not chanting for "We want Florida, we want Florida." Well, you got Florida, and it's not working out great for you. With that said, let's forget about the weekend. I apologize for some of the losing plays, of course, but it's been a very good year. And I want to just touch on one more thing, because someone asked me about props. A couple people asked me about props. They're like, props aren't going well. Why are you doing props? Well, here's the thing. Last 7 days in props, I'm 10-8 for less than 1 unit loss, 0.0, 0.8. In the playoffs, I'm 25-20, minus 2.4 units. So not great. On the year, where most of the people who are questioning me are my full year clients, 25.9% bankroll gain, 134-92, which is number one at WagerTalk. We're going to have some ebbs and flows throughout the season, guys, but we are having a great season. If someone said to you, invest in 8 months of props, and I'll guarantee you 25% bankroll gain, you would take it. You take any stock in the stock market. So with that said, let's just try and suck less and try and get some winners out. And today is the first day of the Charity Challenge. Andrew and I, we're going to give you a play each. Sometimes we're not going to have a play each. We'll agree on one play. It'll just be one play on that day. But we will do that, and we will still do the best bet segment. So there's going to be 4 plays that we're going to give you. And hopefully we can run this balance up. But regardless of what happens during the NHL playoffs with this bankroll that we have, if it doesn't go well, we are still donating to the charity. So still, please drop names of your favorite charities in our live chat and in the video afterwards. I'm writing them all down as you guys give them to me. And a bunch of you guys tweeted out at me yesterday with some very good charities. We are going to try and pick 4. We'll put it up as a poll, and then those charities will get money. WagerTalk does a lot of stuff in the community in North America, charities, sponsorships, and this is just another extension of it with a little spin to it. So we thank you for being a part of this. And with that said, Andrew, let's get going.
Yeah, just real quick, 1 weekend for me, 1 5% winner and 1 5% loser. Unfortunately, the 5% winner was on Edmonton, and that was their team total over 3.5. That one cashes in the first period. And the second one, of course, the loss was the Maple Leafs yesterday. So it's been a pretty good run in the NHL, but rather low volume. I think I've only had like 1 play a day over the last 7 days. So really kind of put that volume down a little bit. But just a quick update, of course, how weird the scheduling has been in the NHL with 3 games yesterday, 1 game on tap for today, guys. Just to look at things, of course, Florida now leads their series 3-0. We have the Devils that grabbed the win yesterday against Carolina. So Carolina leads that series 2-1. And the Seattle Kraken have now taken a 1-game lead on the Dallas Stars. A dominant second period, pretty much put them on top. They didn't really have to do much after that in that game yesterday. They lead the Stars 2-1. And of course, we have this game tonight between Edmonton and Vegas. Let's dive right into it here. We have this series all knotted up. This is going to be a really, really good one to go over. And we've got Edmonton minus 185, Vegas plus 155. It's definitely worthy of noting that Edmonton continues to get money in this game here. It definitely did not open 185 at every single spot, and we're still seeing money come in on this team. Total at 6.5. Money continues to come in on the over here. Would not shock me to see a 7. I think if you like the over, wouldn't argue off a 7 or getting involved in some player props. Plus 1.5 is minus 160 for the Golden Knights, and the minus 1.5 is plus 135 for Edmonton. Really quick, Carm, before I go to you for some thoughts, and we'll do a little back and forth today since it's just one game. The pace in this series has been incredible. I mean, people can talk about the defense on either side, but the pace has been outstanding. And although Vegas won 6-4 in the first contest, I'm still going to argue that Vegas does not want to play at the pace that Edmonton would like to play at. And you look at kind of what's going on and how a lot of people, including myself, said this might be the deepest Edmonton Oilers team we've ever seen in many years. But you don't need your depth if your star players are performing so well. Leon Draisaitl has been amazing all year long. I mean, a handful of days ago, his over-under for shots on goal was 3.5. The guy had 4 goals, Carm. And then he goes ahead and has a 2-goal performance on Saturday. He's already inching towards breaking a record for the most goals scored in the playoffs, and he's not even in the conference finals yet. And that game got really, really aggressive at the end, which only tells me we could see power plays. What I'm trying to say here is that it does seem like it would be hard to not look towards goals once again. But what do you think about this number, Carm? They go back to Alberta. Edmonton's at home, but now the price tag is a little bit higher here, minus 185 on this Oilers team.
Yeah, it is high, and rightfully so. It's again, I always talk about narratives, and I get them wrong sometimes, and sometimes I get them right. And I got them wrong yesterday because I thought the Leafs would play much better. They didn't play much better. I thought Dallas winning game 2 would go to Seattle, and at least, I figured they're going to get a sweep of this, or sorry, not a sweep. They were going to get a split of the 2 games in Seattle, likely winning the first and maybe losing the second. That didn't work out. Whether I'd want to take them in game 4 remains to be seen because Seattle is playing extremely well. But when you look at this game, everyone looks at that first game. It was a sloppy game, and I mentioned it was a sloppy game. I thought the Oilers would be better. I didn't expect them to be as good as they were in game 2, scoring 4 goals in that first period and pretty much assaulting that one away. And now it's about, and we've talked about it, Andrew, at the beginning of the playoffs, overreaction to that game. The Oilers went in and spanked them, beat them handily, 5-1, go back home, and everyone is figuring first game at home, the Oilers are going to continue to do what they're doing. They very may well do it. But the thing here is that Vegas is going to be much better than they were in game 2. They just did not show up in game 2. And you have to think, especially in this first period of tonight's game, as we're going to see a different Vegas team. It would have to be different because they're not going to get outscored 4-0 in that first period. But I have to believe Vegas is going to be better. Now, can they be better defensively? The problem here is, and we saw it and we've talked about it, is if Vegas is undisciplined and picks up penalties, and I mentioned during the regular season, they took the lowest amount of penalties, only 243 penalties taken, which was 15 below St. Louis. You can't give the Oilers a power play. Look what that power play does to you, and especially at home now. If they take any penalties, and especially in that first period, they're going to get buried early, and they can't afford to do that. They need to come out, have a non-eventful first period where their lines are all they're rolling out their lines. They're holding that McDavid and Draisaitl, and that second line with with Evander Kane. Keep those ones in check, and you build throughout a game. Can they do it for the whole game? I'm not entirely sure, Andrew, but I'm not about to lay $1.85 on Edmonton. And I like Edmonton, and I want Edmonton to win the series, but I'm not laying $1.85 on them. Looking at the total's at 6.5 on our live lines, but there are some books popping up with sevens. Now you wonder about sevens in the playoffs. Ralph Michaels sent me this just a little while ago. There's only been 6 sevens in the NHL playoffs. 2 of them were in 2011. 3 of them were last season, and 1 this year. That last game with the Oilers and Golden Knights that started at 6.5. I think it closed at 7, and only 1 has gone over the total. So over 7 has gone 1 in 6 or 1 in 5. I want to throw this stat out the window because, Andrew, at the end of the day, I just don't think that Vegas can keep Edmonton in check for a whole game. And conversely, I don't think Vegas is going to play as bad as they did in game 2. They're going to get their goals as well too. So if you can grab the 6.5, I think the 6.5 is a play. The problem is the juice is starting to get away from you. So it could be one of those ones where you might want to bet it in game, wait a little bit. You might only have to wait 2-3 minutes of the game with no goals, hopefully. And that juice goes from 140 down to about 110, 115, and then you can take it there. If we're talking about juice tolerance, that's one way of looking at it. The one caveat of that is if they score early in the game, the 6.5 is gone and it's now a 7.5 or 8.5. So with that said, I do like the over in this game, but you can play it in game early on and minimize your juice.
I mean, and if there's ever a series for us to look at some of these same game parlays that Andy has talked about, and when we say these same game parlays, we're not talking about making 7 or 8 legs and trying to, hit a 50-1. We're talking about, this guy to get a point, that guy to get a point, the total to go over just to get those odds down. This game probably is one to do it. But I found this really interesting, guys. When you look at the team total for the Vegas Golden Knights, over 3.5 is plus 135. Now, current number at DraftKings is plus 155 for Vegas on the money line. So they're telling you even if they get to 4 goals, they're plus 135, but the money line is plus 155. That's a little bit weird to me, Carm, because to me, usually the team that gets 4 goals, I would say, is supposed to win the hockey game. That's why whenever I take Edmonton, I like betting their team total because sometimes even when they lose, they're 2-0 so far with their team total, and the series is 1-1, right? But I thought that was really interesting that Vegas is 135 to get their 4 goals, but plus 155. In my opinion, I would actually be willing to sacrifice the better price on the Vegas Golden Knights at 155 to take that plus price on a plus 135 over 3.5 goals. I do like the over, and I am seeing the 7 pop up right now at plus 110. I think I would just take that, Carm, honestly.
Yeah, and Andrew, you look at it, look at the games, and I talk about not putting a lot of stock in what happens during the regular season when you're looking at the playoffs. But if you look at their games throughout the regular season, and it started back in November, 4-3 Oilers in OT, then 4-3 Oilers in Vegas, and then 4-3 Vegas in Edmonton in OT, then 7-4 Edmonton, and then 6-4 Vegas in the game 1, and then the last game is the only game that stays under the total. But when you look at it, you can understand why the game stays under the total. In a game that is 5-1, they're not pulling the goalies. The goalie's not ever getting pulled. If that game is 4-2, the game goes over the total because Vegas pulls their goalie with about 4 minutes left in the game, and you get a goal either way. You're going to get it. In a 5-1 game, you remove all thoughts of an early pull with a goalie. All those other games were fairly close, and there were some empty netters in the 7-4 game or the 6-4 game. So it's something you have to look at. The games have been competitive throughout the whole season, with the exception of that 5-1 game, and that was done in the first period. You had a 5% play on that one. I had a smaller play on that team total one. So I'm kind of happy about getting those ones in, but it's just in a game in which I always say, and we always talk about it, the worst number to have heading into the third period when you have an over 6 or 6.5 is 4-1. Because if you don't get a goal from that team that is trailing, they're not going to pull the goalie. And it doesn't happen in the regular season. It may happen in the playoffs, but you need a closer game. And that's why I think if Vegas is better tonight, they're going to have a hard time keeping Edmonton at bay. But the same goes for Edmonton. When Vegas is playing their best game, and this Vegas is a good team. They the number one seed in the West, and they played great down the last couple of weeks and into the playoffs. They play extremely well. This team can score goals. They have talent on the team. So this is the only reason why I'm leaning to it, because I figure Vegas has to be better in this game. I want to mention one quick note, not for myself or you, Andrew, but Brian Leonard released prior to game 2 an adjusted price on 5% play on the Edmonton Oilers, and kudos to him. Plus 110 or plus 120 going into game 2. The Edmonton Oilers are now minus 190. So this is one of those, who knows what's going to happen, but he got the best number. He got his clients on plus 120, and kudos to him.
Yeah, what a number. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how you bet these adjusted series prices. You don't always have to look at them before the series begins, and that's what he did. And great job there by Brian, getting a great number there. And of course, like you said, look at the price for the game tonight. You know, Carm, I've got a bone to pick with people that are talking about how certain players and teams are only good because of power plays. You know what good teams do? They draw power plays. They draw penalties. That's why they're good. They're fast, and they actually are so fast, and they make so many plays, they exhaust their opponent, and they get slashing, tripping, roughing penalties. So the Oilers being 3 for 6 on the power play, it doesn't mean they didn't have a good game. And I feel like some people, you know, I've been at the start of the playoffs, I argued with so many people saying that Leon Draisaitl is underrated. And people said to me, how the hell could that guy be underrated if he's a top 5 player in the league? And I simply think because of all the power play goals and points he scores, people don't give him enough credit. And I know tomorrow we're going to talk about the Maple Leafs or on Wednesday, but the difference between those two teams right now is that the best players on each team, only one of those teams has their best guys performing. 4 goals for Edmonton in their victory the other day came from McDavid and Draisaitl. And if I'm an Oilers fan, I'm loving it, because I still think that Hyman and Nugent Hopkins and those guys have been playing well. But when you've got your top guys playing like your top guys, it's a really good sign. So tonight in the prop betting market, I'll definitely be looking towards some of those top guys for the Vegas Golden Knights. The series might be just 1-1, but that was a big message in game 2. And Carm, I know you always try and keep me leveled, keep us calm, no overreactions with games, but that was a big, big game from the Oilers. So it's now time for the stars to shine for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I look forward to it. I'll tell you what, I'm leaning towards the over 7. But I do kind of like that over 3.5 team total for the Vegas Golden Knights. I honestly might just play the first period over again. As juicy as it's been, it's hitting in like every Oilers game, Carm. So we talk about juice tolerance, but sometimes you find a play you like. I'm playing with house money at this point. I've been betting Oilers first period overs for quite some time in this playoffs now, that I'm not going to be upset if one of them loses. And let's be honest here, if you and I both like the 6.5 over, we probably like the first period over as well. So with that being said, any closing thoughts from you, and then you can lead us into our next segment.
Yeah, what I just wanted to ask, what is the number on the Edmonton team total as far as VIG goes? Is it like minus 140, minus 150?
Edmonton's is 145.
Edmonton's is 145. Okay, and then minus 145. Okay, it's not that bad. It's not. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not as good as it was last game, where it was like minus 110 or so. But these are the ones, and unfortunately, with a lot of these, with a lot of the props, when we release them, is the best time for our clients to bet them, because if you wait throughout the day and you say, okay, I'll wait closer to game time, that Edmonton total goes from 3.5 minus 145 to 3.5 minus 160, 165, and then you're getting the worst of it. If you're getting a closing number that's bad, you're almost better off not even playing it. Same with the shot props. We'll see the shot props move throughout the day. Best to get them as early as you can. If you have, and it's not just from us, if you have a favorite player, whether it's a Jason Robertson from Minnesota, from Dallas. I keep calling Dallas Minnesota. If you have a player you really like, play it in the morning when these numbers come out. They come out on game day morning. Play them, because that's the time you're going to get the best number. It's usually not going to go against you. It's going to, or in your favor. It's going to go against you, where that line goes up 15, 20, 25 cents, 30 cents, saving any kind of VIG long term. If you're in this game and you're practicing solid bankroll management, beating the juice by even 10 cents is going to make you an unbelievable amount of profit throughout the year. So that's the only thing I can say with regards to that, Andrew. But with the shot props, I haven't even looked at the shot props as of yet this morning. I was just looking at some of the other series prices, which, as I mentioned with Brian's, the guy got a great price.
He did. Let's jump into our next segment here, Carm. I know you wanted to go over it again, a couple things before we dove in, but like you mentioned, on a game like today, or a day like today, there's going to be just one game, but you're going to get 4 plays. One play for the best bet, and one play for the charity challenge. We want to nail these plays. I'm motivated. I would say I'm a competitive person, but using that competitive nature and drive to win, to put this money towards something really, really good, is really, really important to me. So not only do we always want to cash tickets and do well for our clients, but now we have that extra motivation to cash some of these tickets on the show, build the bankroll for the charity challenge. So over to you, Carm, for what you have for us.
Yeah, so, and we're getting a lot of good suggestions. Seth and Russell put a couple of them in as well too, so I made sure to jot those ones down. We're gonna have a really good list, and I'll see if we have a lot of ones that are repetitive and become sort of the popular ones. So the idea of this, for those of you who are tuning in or didn't tune in on Friday or see the tweet, is what we're going to do is WagerTalk has provided us with a bankroll. Andrew and I will put out a couple of plays, or one that we strongly agree on each day throughout the remainder of the NHL playoffs, and we'll try and run that bankroll up. The all proceeds at the end will get donated to or split up between some charities. Whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, we'll figure it all out. And in the event, because there's always those who will be like, want to tell us how to spend our money and say, well, why don't you just donate the money? Well, no matter what, at the end of this challenge, whether we succeed or fail, there'll still be donations to the charities. So fear not, our puck timers. With that said, Andrew, Vegas is going to be better tonight. I have to believe they're going to be better. This team, I'm drawing a line through that one, and I'm looking at every other game that they've played this season, and there's been goals from both teams. So the book that we are doing it at, which will remain nameless, but if you go to our live lines, you'll figure it out, has the total at 7 plus 105. It could be plus 110 by the time I bet it, but that's what I'm going to take. I'm going to take the over in the Vegas game tonight. We'll take the little bit of plus money and see if we can get you guys and get the charity challenge a winner with some goals tonight. Let's see 3-3 at the end of 2 periods, and then let the teams fight it out the rest of the way. So at least we've got a push at worst and a win in our sights. Andrew, what do you have for our charity challenge as your first play?
Well, with you expecting a ton of goals, I'm expecting a ton of shots. So I'm going to go with a Vegas Golden Knights forward, and that will be Jonathan Marchessault. He has 11 shots in his last 2 games. Of course, 7 of those being in their beatdown they received on Saturday night, where they lost and only put up 1 goal. I do expect Marchessault to be out there putting up lots of shots again, being very aggressive on the forecheck. And he's a guy that will be out there on the power play when the Vegas Golden Knights do get their chances. So with Carm liking the over, expecting a bunch of goals, I'm expecting a high-level offense tonight from the Vegas Golden Knights, despite being on the road. So I will go with Jonathan Marchessault over shots on goal. Shop around to get that best price that you can. But I think it's a pretty good number right now. We'll see if it moved at all, but I think you can get it anywhere around 145, 150. So that's the one I really, really like. And I know it's minus 150 here, but these numbers they take a long time to move. We talk about it with Dave Sherapan, Arthur Caesar. I mean, in my opinion, Marchessault should be at 3.5 shots. So I believe we're still getting value with him being 2.5. So I'll take Marchessault, Carm, for my charity challenge first play here on Monday. Over to you for what you have for the best bet of the show and what you have going for clients today.
All right, I do like that one. I think I've taken him in both games thus far as client plays. He had four shots in game one, 7 shots in game two. So even in a 5-1 losing effort, he still got 7 shots on goal in that one. So let's hope that they don't start moving his number up and they keep it at 2.5. My card's going up in a little while. It'll be one card with a mix of everything. It'll have some baseball because I'm giving you some of my plays on the show that will also be client plays. So there'll be a card with some baseball, a couple soccer, and a couple NHL tonight, all in one, and all for $9. So that's a great deal instead of 3 different packages. And we Champions League and Europa League take over this week in soccer. So it's the semifinals. I'm going to have some of those plays are already loaded for my long-term clients and soccer clients. So they can they just got to log in to get those ones. As far as a play in tonight's game, Andrew, it's, I looked this over and the juice is so minimal on this. I'm expecting goals in this one. And it's a prop that I played in game 2, which was the anytime goal from Connor McDavid. It was minus 115 in game 2, and it's minus 130 in this game. At home, I'm expecting some goals. I'm hoping for some goals. And if with that, it's got to be Connor McDavid. So McDavid, a minus 130. At least for this team, the stars have shown up in the playoffs. So Connor McDavid, minus 130. If you know, you know.
You got to love it. I mean, why not? The superstars are playing so well for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid to score a goal tonight from Carm. Of course, he plays for the Oilers. Guys, for me, $9 Monday. Of course, every play package available listed for only $9. You can still use that promo code, I believe, the TryWT to get in action if you have not purchased a package before at WagerTalk for 1-day or 3-day all-access pass. I got hockey. We've got some baseball. Looking at 2 plays so far, and I will be jumping into the props in baseball as we kind of have a lot of data now to look at and some different player information. But my best bet for the show, I'm going to look towards Chandler Stevenson from Vegas Golden Knights to record a point. I already mentioned I like Marchessault for his shots on goal, but he didn't record a point yet last game, but they only scored 1 goal, guys. Prior to that, he had 4 straight games with at least a point, whether it was a goal or an assist. I believe Stevenson is a guy that flies under the radar, not really talked about too much, and at a price like 135, 140, that is a guy I want my money on if I believe in the Vegas Golden Knights having a bounce-back effort. I believe we will see a good effort out of Vegas tonight, but for the most part, I will be playing props on their team. Chandler Stevenson to record a point for me for my show best bet today. Connor McDavid to score a goal for Carmine. And of course, we have the charity challenge plays as well. Just 1 game today. You guys know how it works out with the NHL schedule makers. 3 games yesterday, just 1 game today. That's how it works out sometimes. But as you can see, today's picks on the board there. Pause the video, take a screenshot. Let's cash some tickets. Have a great start to our week. Enjoy your Mondays, guys, and hopefully we can come out on top and go 4-0, Carm, to start this week off. So you can find both of us over at WagerTalk.com. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The WagerTalk family has expanded. We're announcing the addition of 5 handicappers previously found exclusively at Sports Memo to the WagerTalk family, making the industry's #1 lineup of handicappers even stronger. To celebrate, we're taking 50% off every regularly priced package through Friday, May 12th. So without further ado, a WagerTalk welcome to Ronald Kabang, formerly UCapper, Jeff Michaels, formerly JM Sports, Don Buster of Buster Sports, Nick Borman, and Pavlos Leguertos. To take advantage of this incredible offer, use coupon code WELCOME2023 at checkout and get 50% off a daily, weekly, or all-access package up to 365 days with any of these Fab 5 editions. Make sure to check out their homepages where you can learn more about them, grab one of their free plays, and become familiar with the handicapping styles by reading the write-ups of their last 20 plays. Remember, Welcome 2023 saves you 50% off any non-Monday packages for any of WagerTalk's new handicappers.